Folks, I want to tell you about the show that we're going to have today. It's going to be an absolute fabulous show. These individuals, I have known them for a number of years, and they're in the print industry, and they have started a group, that works with mental health, and it's called Sheet for Brains. And how they got it started, how it's going, how it's working, and the number of people that have just reached out to them has just been unreal. So you're really going to enjoy it. So please let me know, in the comments. Subscribe. I would appreciate it greatly. Thank you. Welcome, folks. I tell you, we are going to have a show today that y'all are really going to get a kick out of. I have got some wonderful people that I've known for many, many years, and I've been involved with them in the print industry. And so, and what we're going to talk about, we're going to take a little bit of a different avenue this time, because usually we're talking about mentoring and we're talking about collaboration or talking about leadership. And sometimes we get off track and talk about fishing. But today we're going to talk about mental health. And when I heard what this group has put together, I mean, it just struck me. I mean, I know a lot of people, that just have a tough time and struggling, and it's just exhausting sometimes. And you're embarrassed to go and talk to people, and talk about it. And because it especially men, I mean, because it makes them look weak, So they've got a program that started, and it's fabulous, and it's called Sheet for Brains. It's very easy to screw that name up. I promise you it is. But it's Sheet for Brains. But we got Jon Bailey. He's one of the founders. He's over across the pond over there, and he and I have talked for many years. And then he was on a podcast not too long ago. And we got Jessica DeCola, and she is like the marketing director for GPA, which is Gum Papers of America, which is a great, great company. And I'm telling you, it's one of the funnest group of people, salespeople, and the operational people. I mean, they're just a whole lot of fun. Then we got Chris Minn, and he is all the way over in EAU, I believe it is, isn't it?
Close.
Somewhere in there. Anyway, it's way overseas. I can tell you that. Which I find that so interesting. I was talking to him not too long ago at D-Scoop, and he was an interesting guy. And so I just want to stay there and talk to him a little bit more, and hopefully he'll be able to talk a little bit about what all he does and how he got involved, into Sheet for Brains, So one of y'all, and I don't want to call on just any one particular one, but I would like for y'all to tell everybody, so everybody understands what Sheet for Brains is and how in the world y'all got it started.
Jessica,
go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Jessica, that's you.
You're in, Jessica.
I feel like Chris and I could tag team this. Chris, you can start, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go pre-D-Scoop 2023. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were getting ready, Larry, for D-Scoop in, I think, where was it?
Indianapolis.
No,
Indianapolis.
That's it. That's right. And I got working with Jess and Dave. I need to mention Dave Rosendahl isn't on the call. He's also the other founder as well. So the two of us were already planning our D-Scoop campaign in Indianapolis. And then just by chance, really, we were working together on something else. And Jon was doing his thing over there. And then when we got there, Jon was on stage. And at this point, I'm going to let Jessica take over. And Jon was on stage and he addressed the D-Scoop community. Didn't he, Jessica?
He did, Chris. So Jon gets on stage and he gives Larry, I don't think you were there, but he got up there and threw the script out the door and said, I'm just going to get up here and talk and be real. And he shared stories, very personal stories, about his daughter, about his business, about himself. And Chris and Dave and I were sitting in the audience and afterwards came back together and said, that was incredibly powerful. And we need more of that in our industry. We see each other in the hallways, we see each other at conferences and trade shows, and everybody asks how you're doing. And the response is always, I'm doing great, I'm doing fine. And the reality is everyone's going through something. And so the four of us, after D-Scoop, found each other and said, let's get on a call. If we can't be authentic with one another and we can't be open and transparent and vulnerable, then there's nothing here and it's all in our heads. But we got on a call together, and it was supposed to be a 45-minute call, Larry. We were on the phone for maybe 2 hours, and we weren't done. And so I think it was at that point we kind of realized that there is a need for us to create a space. And we're not experts by no means. And, we disclose this in every session that we have. We're not experts. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to facilitate a space that allows you to be open and transparent and share that you're having a shitty day, or share that you're struggling to be a working mom or a working dad or a business owner in this industry, because it's one that a lot of people who aren't in it don't understand it. And so that's kind of in a nutshell where it started. So thanks, Jon.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And that's great, because I can tell you right now that, right, we're not professionals in that field by any way, or medical professionals, I should say. But we are real life.
Yep.
We face this every single day. We have friends, we have people we talk to, we have employees that we are able to get down on their level, and they feel comfortable, in talking to us, and one of the things that I feel they do, because, when the stigma, when, somebody says, well, I have to go see a psychologist. Oh man, I'm having a tough time. I got to go see such and such, But a lot of people, they don't understand, everything needs tuned up.
Yep.
Your car breaks down, it needs tuned up. Your refrigerator breaks down, you got to have it fixed and tuned up. Your door gets out of whack. We just had a door repair yesterday. Well, you got to get that done. Well, sometimes your head gets out of whack and you got to get it tuned up.
Yep.
Just pure life. I know when I mentor kids, and I do mentor quite a few of them, good kids. They really are. And they seem like they start getting a little off track, when they're trying to go through their teenage or trying to go to college, they want to be somebody and everything. And I tell them all the time that your 20s are the most defining decade of your life. And that will propel you to whatever direction you're going to go in, and there's certain things that they don't teach, that in school, such as finance. I'm big on working on them on the finance end. But a lot of them are embarrassed about certain things, and I said, well, I can talk to you. I mean, I'm talking, pure pressure that's on them when you're going to school. And I saw that on my twin grandbabies, boy, and I'm telling you, they get that social media texting back and forth, and then they get, they don't like me, because they're not texting me back or something like that, So no, I'm all for you guys, and I think it's just excellent, what all you're doing.
Larry, let jump in on a few points you've made there, because I've known you a long time, and you're one of my mentors, right? So what you do with the students is part of the foundation of what we're trying to do. I've been lucky enough to work with amazing people over the years, and I've stolen bits from every one of them as my mentor to make sure that we do the right thing moving forward. But the stories we talked about on stage were to cover all bases, because there's the academia program at these that were in the room is exactly like you said there, right? They're expected to come in, be able to run at the same pace as everybody else, but the pressure on them is very different, very different. And if they risk saying, I've got a problem, or they risk saying, I don't feel right, they risk everybody saying, right, these students, these kids, they're lightweight, they're soft, they're this, they're that. Well, that's not my experience. My experience is that the next gen is amazing and could be amazing, but we're plowing all this pressure with tech and social on them that's actually making it harder to navigate that period of their life. We just did a session at the D-Scoop about how we think social media is stealing the souls of the next generation and how print can save it. That's how significant we think that is. But the stories were also about people like me and you And when we talked about it in the pre meeting, how we get to a certain age, and then we've got to come to terms with being the old greybeards, right? And actually, we've then suddenly got to become the people that are handing the businesses over and losing our identity. Is the business our identity because we've run the businesses for 30 years, so we have that pressure. And then we've walked around many events, you and I, both of us, and all these guys, and pretended everything's all right, like Jess said. How is it? Great. I've been to many of these scoops over the years when nobody's known, but I've been going through hell. And the business was on its knees, or there's been a problem where it's causing me serious stress, and I've had to pretend everything's all right, but I felt like a ghost walking around, and I've just felt like I'm saying I'm fine and speaking to people, but I wasn't there, I wasn't present. And so all of those sort of things come to fruition. But the funny thing about what you said there about therapy, I have to tell the story, is I am a Brit, as you mentioned at the start, and we don't do therapists.
No,
we don't do therapy. You're not like you Americans. You love the therapy. We don't like therapy. So when we jumped on this call to talk about whether we're getting on, that Jess and Dave are saying, well, we have a therapist, and me and Chris are going, no, I don't do therapy. And I specifically said, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm an old English man. I don't have a therapist. I don't do therapy. That's it. End of discussion. I hate to break it to you. So Jess says, oh, right, no problem. Anyway, we need to go. What are you doing now? I said, I've got a meeting with my mindset coach. A therapist? No, it's a mindset coach. It's a therapist. So just for the record, I am now a fully into therapy. And I'm actually meeting her straight after this podcast, so I'm still in. So yeah, there you go.
Oh, I love it. I do. But it's just like you said, John, it's just the mindset, of what you're going to call it.
Yeah.
And boy, if somebody's out there that's willing to talk, willing to help, has got great ideas, just somebody just to listen to you, where you can just, voice it out. I mean, it's just fantastic. But you were talking about D-Scoop Edge, which I was invited, and I got to go there, and it was a fabulous event. I wished I could have stayed longer, but I was busy. I had a great grandbaby being born, and I hope to attend. The one that's going to be in Denver. That's the one that's going to take next place, and Denver's a beautiful area too, so it'll be a lot of fun. So was this the first time that y'all had an event, Sheet for Brains had an event at D-Scoop? And how did it go?
Christopher.
Okay, I'll jump in. So it's our first physical event, Larry, but we have had many virtual events. So when we got together after Indianapolis, we had to put a structure together. And just going back to those days where we'd spoken after John's moving speech, the more we started to discuss the topic, the more we realized that our industry is diverse. It has a real range of ages. It also has a real range of stresses in a post-COVID world. Okay, so there's people that have been dealing with factors with COVID, but then also factors with world politics, geopolitics, which is also added to those pressures. And we then said, right, we've got to do something regular, frequent. We've got to have something at least once a quarter. We've got to structure this with some pillars. We've got to have all these different people catered for in some shape or form. It's a huge undertaking, which is why we say we're facilitators. We've got to try and bring the people in to resource this the right way. But the more we go down this journey, the more we realise that the requirement for this is huge. So we started with an online event where that's the easiest way that we can bring everybody together, but also we can manage respect and confidence in people talking and being open and honest. So that structure worked really well. Obviously, it was born out of D-Scoop. And we've all been connected with D-Scoop. Dave as well. We're all huge fans. Incidentally, you mentioned about where I live. I actually got the phone call that I was moving to the Middle East at that D-Scoop in Indianapolis as I was leaving the airport. So it's very strange set of events. But anyway, so we had the opportunity with D-Scoop's backing, and they very kindly supported us through the last 18 months that we could have a booth where I bumped into you, Larry, for the first time. And we discussed your grandson. And it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm going to be slightly biased and say we had the best booth and we had probably the most foot traffic.
Next to GPA. Sorry.
I mean, apparently GPA were there, but no. But again, and on that note as well, Larry, we must thank the likes of GPA, Precision Proco, D-Scoop, Infigo, Mindfire. These are all these companies that have come together in the last 18 months building up to that show to help us get this moving. This is not for profit. We do it out of love. We believe in our industry. We believe in the people in the industry. So to answer your question, that was the first physical event. And we wanted to test the water and see, is there an appetite for it? Does it work in the live environment? And as Jon mentioned as well, we had a session as well in the conference, as well as having the booth. And again, it just, like I say, the journey just continues to grow, and we continue to find more and more people that need help and support.
What I think was good, Larry, just to jump in on that, what we loved about the live event and stuff, what I think we're amplifying it, is we're trying to make it a bit different, because like you said at the start, people don't want to talk about it. And if it's really serious, and if it's not, if you can't get into it, if it's not accessible to you, or it feels too far away, then you kind of stand back and you don't lean in. And we're really passionate about making it really accessible to everybody, whether you are one at the student, woman at work, single mum, working dad, old boy like me, whoever it is, business owner, employee. We just want to make it really accessible to anyone. Say, come talk to us. We're just really normal people. But we're lucky, we're privileged, because we're in a position of responsibility and power, where from a stress perspective, where we can explain that it's okay to be vulnerable. And if people see us doing it, we really believe people go, wow, if that dude who has to get up on stage and can say it will do it, then maybe I could be vulnerable. And that's really what it's about. And it's about making it accessible, but having fun about it, and not making it too serious, but at the same time being able to lock in on the really serious topics and getting that balance right. And I think that's really key. And what we were able to do with the face-to-face at D-Scoop was bring that to life and really bring us as personalities and us as what we're trying to achieve into the room with the people. And it was just fantastic, because we really were in touch with the people that were part of the community. And this session went ballistic, right? It was meant to be like a panel show. It started off with a few questions, then it just freestyle. We chucked the speeches, we chucked the slides out the window, we chucked the agenda out, and we just went into it with mics, and we just ended up running out of time it went like this, and everyone said, "Oh, let's carry on." And we were like, "No, we really can't." So it just proved the point that this is needed and it's important. And if it's needed and important, we as individuals are going to stay committed to doing it, because it really is needed.
In the follow-up,
and it is. Yeah. Go ahead, Jess.
In the follow-up after, the emails, the text messages, the LinkedIn inboxes, the crowding of, or the expansion of our LinkedIn group in terms of members after the physical event, and the folks who were there, has been tremendous. I mean, we just got an email, the four of us yesterday, from Erwin at Kober, and he's just like, just checking in with you guys. How are you doing? Just to say hello and, make sure everything's okay. So the impact from that event, and I think we needed that physical event to really kind of drive the importance and the significance of it. And it's grown exponentially, to Chris's point. But no, it's a volunteer situation. It's the four of us after hours on our laptops, building websites, creating posts, getting together content for the next session and the next session. And so, it really is a labor of love, but something that we obviously see has there's a massive need for it. So
international as well.
International. We're global.
International.
I know it. I love it being international. And of course, the program you got with D-Scoop, that's international. I mean, that's a global group, all good people. And you just said Erwin, and I love Erwin. Boy, he's a good guy. And I had written down some notes here, and I did see your speech, Jon. I saw, and I don't remember if I saw the whole thing or a portion of it, but I'm a YouTuber, boy. I mean, I watch YouTube left and right, and
not on YouTube, is it?
Huh?
It's not on YouTube, is it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I saw it somewhere, but anyway, it was great that you were up there and giving the talk and everything, and it was people were paying attention,
Clearly.
you know, which was great. So I do have another question for you. Um, how do you handle? Because some people, confidentiality to make people. Because I want to tell the audience here that they can feel comfortable that you know all this is in a confidentiality manner. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes,
Yep.
it is correct. So we have a code of conduct, which we read at the start of every meeting, which is all
Yeah.
to do with confidentiality. Our LinkedIn groups are limited and access only by invitation, so you have to apply, and it's hardly a stressful interview, but you have to sort of recommend and come in, so we make sure there's no conflict
Yeah.
with people. And we also then, during any sessions, the bits that we put out for general viewing are open questions, or the sessions. They're not. We don't share the chat or the questions or any of the conversations that go on after. And all of the questions are managed in a locked environment, a safe environment, and done. And we also make sure that if we're doing our live events, the bits that anything that's recorded or broadcast is only, again, the public consumption conversation or the content. It's not the user-driven content.
Correct.
So we make sure we lock all that down and make sure people are safe. The other thing we also do, Larry, is because it's interesting because I have people from Precision Proco who want to join because they have challenges and they want to learn and listen, as does Jess from her family and her work, and Chris from his family work, and Dave. And we also then, what we do is we reach out to each other's people. So for example, if someone from Precision Proco wanted to talk or we felt that they had a challenge, the other guys here offer themselves and their time to that person. So it's not me. So they don't feel like they have that they're telling their boss something that they didn't want to tell their boss, but talk in confidence with someone else. And the final thing we do is we always personally follow up when people reach out. So after the events, we, like Jessica said, we get emails saying, that really touched me, or I really felt that, or I was sat in the audience and I felt like a fog was coming over me because I'm that person, or I've just been made redundant, or this has happened and it really helped me. We always, one of us who is not connected, always reaches out personally and then follows up and tries to point them in the right direction, or give them some resource to where they could go, or and just to try and help them find someone who can properly professionally support them.
Well, that brings me to my next question here. So far as a true licensed therapist.
Yeah.
Okay. So are y'all connected with some, do they come in and occasionally do you plan on having them be speakers on certain things, or how do you plan to address that?
So we've had a few sessions. One, we had Glenn Packiam. He's an author, but he's also a pastor and has counseling experience. And he came on our first session. Larry, outside of our launch party, was on resilience and leadership. And so he was the entire session and obviously engaged with the four of us. So we do try to, and we had Chris Bears-Brown, who was a speaker, and more of a speaker, not necessarily like a professional medical resource. But what we do have in the backgrounds are actual tangible resources. Man Up, Man Down was a session that we had back in January, I believe. And so, we really emphasize the fact that we aren't professionals, but what we can do and what we do for the people that are part of the community is provide professional resources and outlets for them. Chris and I are in the process of, designing with Jon and Dave's input, a website that will launch at the end of next month. And on that website, you'll have a page of resources, suicide help, awareness, hotlines, websites, and not just suicide, but every kind of, pillar that Chris talked about earlier, providing professional resources to make sure that people have access to those, because we are opening Pandora's box. And if you walk into one of these sessions and you feel something you didn't think you felt before, we don't want to leave you high and dry. And so part of our responsibility in creating this space is to make sure that we provide those resources. We do have a session next month that we'll be putting a press release out for in the next few days. And we will have an actual licensed counselor, therapist, psychologist on that session with us to talk about what we'll be discussing there. So we provide them, not necessarily in every session, but resources to them thereafter, for sure.
Well, that's fabulous. It is. You know, I watched one of the sessions with a family that their daughter was having, you know, a tough time, you know, and the more I start listening to it, well, you know, then I got to paying attention a little closer and everything. Well, this was similar to what my granddaughter was experiencing, you know, and where she would just be just fine. And boy, she's a good softball player. And boy, she'd be playing softball. At the end of the softball game, she'd just, it just like turn off the switch. She's out, you know? And she could, and then I talked to her, you know, and then tell her to start paying attention what she ate, what she drank, what she did, you know, and where she was at and what the feeling was and everything. So she started really recording that. And then they didn't know. I mean, they get all kinds of different tests, you know. I mean, there's a reason the doctor's offices are called practices, because they practicing on everything. Every time you turn around, I'll give you a pill, you know, take that. I've done my own, a lot of activity in that field. And then the final test they did, and it took like, I mean, we're in Houston, Texas, you know, the medical center of almost the world. And it took, I bet it was probably 3 months before she could get an appointment on this one machine. And it was called the tilt test. And just like it sounds, that's what took place. You know, you're monitored up, and she had already been through all the brain scans and electrodes and all that kind of stuff. And she is on a table, and here's her head. And then they tilt her up, you know, and then they tilt her down. And they, of course, measure the blood flow, you know, of where it's going, and, you know, and sure enough, she passed out on that.
Wow.
So medically, what that does, I don't know. But anyway, they said, well, this is, I think they call it like POTS or pods or something like that.
Yep.
And I can't wait to talk to her when she gets back from Mexico, you know, so because I know she'll want to talk to this young lady and you know, see what she says. I think the young lady, she might be 18, 19 years old. My granddaughter, she's, you know, got a learner's permit, and she's going to be driving come November, which drives me nuts. But I let them drive. They drive, you know, both of them. They're twins, got 2 of them, and they're good little drivers. They're good, safe drivers. And I tell them, I don't worry about them. I worry about all those idiots that are around them, especially right here in Houston. So it was great, and I never, because trying to find somebody that has that particular event that takes place, you know, I mean, you just don't talk to anybody.
You know what, Larry? It's a perfect example of why we're doing it. That we talk about looking after the one. That story you've just said there is why we're doing it. And if we didn't do anything else, it was worth doing, right? Because of that.
Yep.
So I heard that story from Amy Scott, the mum, and Brian Scott, who's a, you know, blooming colour D-scooper. Mm-hmm. And that story, I heard it over a glass of wine, and literally my hairs on my arm, on the back of my neck stood up. I couldn't believe it. I was in all sorts of trouble. And I rang these guys after and said, we are definitely having those guys on as a session. And as you know, they, like you said, they came on and wow, is it powerful? But that there is exactly why, because you listen to it and you realize you're not alone, and that there are people that can come up with some answers. And I know for a fact, Amy will be so pleased to hear from you about it and be so delighted to speak to you. Not just she will speak to you, she'll be over the moon that you saw that and that it was going to help your granddaughter, and she will connect straight away. I know they'll be so happy to do so. And that's beautiful.
We're going to talk tomorrow. They've already reached out to me.
They did. Oh, good, Larry. I know. I connected.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Jess connected me with them, and then I heard and said, absolutely, would love to talk to you. Said Thursday would probably be best. I said, I'll be ready.
I love it.
You know,
Brilliant.
so then I let them talk. But stop and think. If it wasn't for you guys, and if you did not have this working and trying to get it developed, who else would they have talked to? Nobody, because there's nothing else like this out there, you know. And then I see a lot of. I helped this young lady set up an app where doctors could talk to each other. Believe me, I didn't do any technology on the app. No, that's not me, you know. But I walked her through it so far as a business aspect on it, and it was for doctors to talk to doctors, you know.
Smart.
So you need kind of the patients to talk to patients. And with all the HIPAA laws, and I was going to ask y'all if y'all thought about that, but the HIPAA laws that's out there, you know, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that name. You know, oh, I don't know if you can do that. Well, you know, somewhere you got to kind of break that up there a little bit, and you know, somebody got to say something. So, how do y'all address HIPAA?
We don't.
And that's
yeah,
fine.
and I think, and we do have disclosures on all of our things, Larry. To your point, stating that we're not professionals, and if you need professional advice, you know, we're not it. We're facilitators. We create a space for people to come together because there is that liability, and we make it very clear that we are not by any means or stretch of the imagination here to offer answers or solutions. We're here to offer our perspectives and our experiences, and also allow people to share their perspective and experience that could potentially help someone else. So we don't, and maybe down the road we'll get to that point where we will have, you know, someone, a medical professional on board. But at the moment we just kind of, we're facilitators.
The other thing on that is interesting. You know, am I you know, can I occasionally say something that might be not completely PC potentially?
Totally.
Um,
All the time.
but yeah, but look, you know, we got to create a space where people can talk, and that's not about being disrespectful or abusive or rude, but it is about being honest. And you can't always get the terminology right. You know, things change, and we're trying to create a space where you can ask the question, and as long as it's asked in the right format and the right way, and it's in an educational way, and it's like, you know, I say to these guys, I say to Jess, what should I say in that space? Am I saying the right thing? Is that what language should I use? And we get it wrong, but we make it really clear that this is we address stuff that people want to talk about. We're going to be talking about, you know, hopefully we're going to be talking about substance abuse in the print industry at DSQ, right? That's a big old topic for people like me, and a big old topic for the business owners when there's probably a bit too much drinking going on, and it's at the other one, and you know, and how much, you know, and the stress levels and what that looks like. And substance abuse is a top topic. And we've talked about suicide, and we want to address these topics. And I don't think you can address them as 4 volunteers individually when you're passionate about them, without sometimes maybe, you know, saying stuff that's to the edge. But we just want to make sure we're really honest and really open, and people can say what they want to say and talk about what they want to talk about, but then have a really respectful and open conversation about it. So.
Yeah, well, 100%. No, I agree with that. I know, to your point there, I know a young lady that has worked for me for a number of years. I mean, she's like 5 foot and a total powerhouse, you know, she is. I mean, she says, Larry, you are a human resources nightmare. I said, Annette, I'm just honest, you know, straight to the point, you know, pussyfooting around, you know, this is the problem you got. Let's talk about it. You know, that type thing. And then, so, and the other thing is, I mean, have any kind of sponsors reached out to you guys? There's two questions here. I'm going to load them up. Any kind of sponsors that have reached out to you guys to fund it? Because this is not cheap. You know, I mean, you're operating out of Ass National right now, and so you've got to always be cautious of that, of your spending in any kind of business. You need to be cautious of that. So my second question is that, well, let's see, how do I even, well, let's just stay on that, 'cause I'm trying to figure out, to make sure I word that just right. So I guess, pretty much on my first question, I just answered about sponsors.
Obviously, as Jess said earlier, it's a labour of love, Larry. We do what we can. We ask, we borrow. We don't steal, but we beg and we borrow. But we get a lot of help because I think the industry knows they need this or they want this. As it grows, we're going to need more support where we can take it further, go to more events, have more resources, bring more people on. We've got to feed the machine. But the where the D-Scoop event recently in Long Beach was really fruitful was that some of the commercial partners, some of the the likes of Deborah Corn and what they think, and Printing Connect Online, they were there, they saw it, and they were aware of it, but they sat in the session or they came to the booth, and then the penny dropped. So we're like, how can we help? How can we help? And then we just said, look, quite simply, we need to get the message out further. We need to reach the whole of North America, not just the D-Scoop community. We need to reach the whole of the print industry. So we're getting a lot of help from that point of view right now. We're going to need more. As Jess said, we've got to put more digital assets together. We want to travel far and wide. So right now we're open to offers. I'd say, guys, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good of you, Larry, to recommend to offer. I appreciate it.
You said on camera, didn't
First
you?
monetary donor. Thank
Very
you.
good of you.
I got some $2 bills.
Perfect.
I'll send the invoice over. But I missed the question because I didn't put 50p in the electric meter, but I put it in now and the power's back on. So the sponsorship is interesting, right? We're trying to get through it. It's very difficult. We want the right people involved, not just people who want a sponsor to say they're involved, because that's really not us. So the people we want involved, we want them to care about it and to give a shit about it. It's very difficult to say that as well. Probably.
It is.
And it is to give a shit. And we want the right people involved. We've been blessed, like Chris said, to have some people like the guys at Branded by Woods and Blooming Colours and people like that, and as well as our own businesses who have lent in already and put money into producing the stuff for us. So that's fantastic. But over the next period, we're definitely going to be coming out with a kind of new structure of how we are going to fund it moving forward and how we would like people to lean in and contribute to that as a non-profit organization. So we would definitely need more of that.
Yeah.
And then will y'all have like a referral list, as the only thing I know how to refer it, where you have some vetted professionals, that are in the Houston area, in the California area. There's got to be a lot of them out in California. And then other areas, because I do feel that, they would be interested in this,
Yeah.
And because they want to help people too. I promise you they do. So y'all definitely got a ways to go, but golly, you've made strides for what you've got and what that has started. What does HP say about this?
Well, we know they're supported on the surface, not officially, but we know the HP staff, the likes of Bob Rouse, the gentleman up in Canada, I forget his name.
Paul McCarthy. Yeah.
Paul McCarthy. Sorry,
Yep.
Paul, my apologies. I should know your name. But yeah, Bob's been, they're on the post, they're supporting them, they're commenting. The team, the HP team have been great. What HP think, I don't know. I can't comment on that, but I know that their teams, their staff are behind it. So.
Well,
And I think once we become a little bit more formal, Larry, because right now, we're just throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, the four of us, we never, but we are though. We don't know what we're doing. We know that there's a need for this, but we don't know what we're doing. We all know how to effectively run businesses and departments and lead teams, but this is a whole different bag of stuff that none of us have really explored before, and no one in this industry has really explored before. And so we're trying to figure out what works best. We're trying to build a structure that mimics a nonprofit, or is a nonprofit, really, so that we can have the means to approach people like HP to say, this is how you can support, this is how you can contribute. Because right now, to John's comment earlier, the Blooming Colors of the world and the Branded by Woods, Devin down in Indiana, they've donated things, right? I mean, we had a booth. D-Scoop allowed us to have this beautiful booth in this space to kind of bring that message forward. But all of the things have been donated without any kind of structure, just simply believing in what we're doing and wanting to be a part of it. And so I think as we formalize things a little bit more, I think we'll have the opportunity to approach the HPs, to approach the Canons, to approach, the other large players in the print industry, to have actual tangible elements of our group to cling to. So
I would say this on the back of from an HP perspective. HP is a huge beast, but there's not a single person within HP, and I know a lot of them, that has said anything other than congratulations on how Chief is going. I've not encountered a single person since we started who said this is a stupid idea, right? If I did encounter someone with a stupid idea, I'd tell them they're the ones who need to come to the call.
Right. That's what I'm going to say.
Right? But I haven't encountered anyone yet. And I'm being approached by organisations, and we're being approached by organisations and associations in countries like the British Printing Federation and the IPIA and these kind of organisations that are saying, hey, we don't have anything like this. Would Cheap for Brains be interested in being our arm for mental health, our arm for academia, our arm for equality and DEI? And when we're being asked that, four of us, just trying to do something, and we're being asked by associations and organisations to represent, I would suggest that we're doing something right and that they need it. So really for me, and we talk about this when we'll meet up again, we meet up quite regular and try and plan what we're doing. But for me, it's how we amplify them. And we're so lucky because what people like Erwin, who we talked about earlier from Greta, who are saying, let me lean in. How can I help? Can I be an ambassador? We're like, yeah, you can. Yep. We're not precious. You get it. And I think this year you'll find that the four of us become 8 to 10 of people who are out, evangelizing about it in different areas. I've got a guy in the UK who's asking us to represent Chief of Brands in the UK as an entity. So we're going to hopefully explore that in the next few months. So as we start to get momentum, we'll start to be able to spread and amplify. And then I think that's when the magic will really happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. You just stay on it. And, just a couple more points that I wanted to make. And this is not just about mental health. Mm-hmm. This is about things that happen, just like this young lady.
Yep.
Stuff like that will make you need mental health, but good, strong lady, good, strong family, and that has a lot of things too, because, people just want to know, well, does somebody else do this? Does somebody else have this issue?
A lot of hype, Larry, there's a lot of hype around mental health. They're talking about mental health. It's not about mental health, it's about being a good human. That's what it's about. It's about actually reaching out and looking after people, right? So much nonsense going on in the world. It's 2025 and people are sending drones and rockets all over the place. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right? It's ridiculous. And how can people understand the impact this is having on everybody, and the impact we're having on our kids with the technology and the social, and the impact we're having on our colleagues with the pressure and more and efficiency. There comes a point where you've just got to stop and go, look, let's just look after each other a little bit more.
Yep.
And really just be really honest about where we're at. Because like you said at the start, Larry, you remember being 49 and it's gone like that. And if you're going to spend 20 years, 25 years goes like that, and you're going to spend it, in a position of darkness or with a fog or with a confusion or with and not living your life because you're worrying about the wrong things, and suddenly it's done. Right. And I just think it's about that. And I think it's about grounding it and just saying, look, come on.
And from a business perspective too, Larry, at the core of any good business are its people. And if your people aren't okay, or if your people don't feel like they can talk to you about what they're going through so that you can help them, you're a mentor, you get that part of it. If you don't create an environment that allows people to speak freely or to feel freely and to share those things, then, you know, as a business, you're not going to succeed either. So, and
Oh, 100%. Well, I'm telling you,
No,
I
just
preach
going back.
people all the time. Yes, sir.
Sorry, Lo, to go back to your point there, you just said it's not just about mental health, but we mentioned the pillars earlier on in the conversation, and that's because when we got together and we put this, you know, the four of us were talking. Yes, Jon was talking about one element of it, but then there's so many stories, there's so many facets. There could be, for example, let's go into working mums. Let's go for a working mum with a family. She's busy. She's also trying to get on in an industry that's pretty much male dominated, right? That if we want the print industry to evolve and be successful as it should be, because it's the best industry in the world in both technical, print, and creative, then everybody, the academia guys, need to feel like they can progress into this world as well. So there's all these things we've got to think about, not just the mental health, but well-being, balance, sustainability. We've got to think about, the age gaps. Are we educating them right? Are we letting go? Jon mentioned it earlier. Are the owners, are they aware when they need to start to bring in their replacements, the next generation? Do they feel okay about being replaced? Is that causing them an anxiety? There's all these things that we need to think about. And like Jess said, we've opened Pandora's box. We're going to leave it open, and we're going to try and close it with resources and support and everything. But it is more than just mental health. It's life, humans.
Oh, 100%. You talked about, trying to think who you're going to, pass your business off to. I said, because my son worked for me for a great kid, smart kid. He got that from his mama. And he's an engineer. And I said, son, Andrew, I said, do you want me to save the business for you? I mean, and you go ahead and take over. No, Dad, I don't want to work as hard as you do. Pretty smart kid. I'm telling you.
What's smarter than me were, Larry?
Oh my God, he's an engineer now, and he does a bunch of chicken scratch all over the sheet, which I don't understand, and he's he good boy, he really is. But going forward, how do people get a hold of you guys?
Call me up. No, I think we've got our private group. Check
in the comments.
In the comments, check the
comments. And I will have them in the comments.
I mean, we have a private LinkedIn group, right? Which you have to Jon's point earlier, you have to request to be in it or be invited into it, because we want to create a space where people can go and feel like they have a safe space to say and be who they want to be. We do have a LinkedIn page, which is open to the public, and it's kind of open to everyone. We're also very open with our contact information, our email addresses, our cell phone numbers. I think Dave Rosendahl puts his cell phone number on LinkedIn like every day, just like text me, call me.
You'll be able to get Dave's information, but you might not be able to speak to him.
He's the busiest person I know.
He is one busy
person I know.
He makes me the laziest.
It is
honestly.
We miss you, Dave. But website, again, our website will be up and after our next session, which is August 26th, I believe. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
August 26th.
In fact, just giving a secret there. The session, we haven't announced it yet.
It's not. I'm not telling what it is. I'm just giving the date. And after the day, after the session, we're going to officially launch our website, Larry. So there will be an email address directly linked to us, our website, more information about how they can get in touch with us for whatever reason, whether it's to chat or to offer support, suggestions, donation, whatever it is. So
fantastic.
The other thing is, I would say it's like a bat signal, right? Is when people start putting the flag up to say there's a problem. If anyone within the community sees it, any D-scoopers see it, you want to reach out to anyone you know in the D-scoop community, in your community, in our communities, I think you'll find that they'll put the flag up or the bat signal up, and one of us will see it, because we're starting to really spread that network of people saying you need to speak to these guys, and we get so many people sent to us who we don't know, who didn't even know about Sheet for Brains, but they know someone who knows someone who knows someone who said, God, there's these guys doing something like this. You should ring this dude, John. He's a good guy. I mean, he's English, unfortunately, but give him a ring. So we get a lot of that, and that's part of it as well. So we need to, everybody who sees this, we want everyone who sees this, because of your big following, to then spread the word as well. And it's open to everyone. It's not just printing. It's everyone.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's just fabulous, guys. It really is. And and I hope that we can continue to, have other podcasts, because I love having you guys on there and we can talk and just kind of make sure that we tell everybody and keep everybody up to date. But, Jon, Chris, Jessica, just great folks. Love you all to death. And it's always fun talking to you and seeing you and having the story that y'all have to tell. And whatever I can do to help, I am more than welcome. Just reach out to me.
Thank you.
Larry, we love you, dude. Love you. Thank you for having us on. Love you, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning into the Larry Vaughn Show. Your support and engagement mean the world to me. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you want to dive deeper into the stories behind the show, check out my book, Business Cards and Shoe Leather. It's a journey through a connection, community, and real entrepreneurship. You can also visit LarryVaughn.com to subscribe to the newsletter and browse the merchandise shop. We've got some great things in store. And always remember, make today count.